Hello there, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews. My name is Alyssa, and this is my review for Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 8, Mercy. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. First off, I gotta start with a spoiler warning. If you have not seen up through the end of this episode, then you should not watch this video. But honestly, if you have not seen up to the end of this episode, then don't bother. Honestly, there are better ways to spend your time. Moon Knight was good again. Moon Knight continues to blow my mind. What a ending this week. But I'm not talking about that. I also went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once last night. That's the multiverse movie that stars Michelle Yeoh from Star Trek Discovery fame, as well as a bunch of other things. In fact, I thought it was an ironic movie title for Michelle Yeoh because she is everywhere at once. Everything Everywhere at Once. It's gotten a lot of rave reviews, very high score on Rotten Tomatoes. It was good. It was good. Not quite as good as I was hoping it would be. It had a little bit too much of the like weird, silly stuff, like way out there, weird, silly stuff in alternate universes, like what Rick and Morty does sometimes. I don't like it when Rick and Morty does it either, where they get like too just silly and weird for their alternate universes. It did a little too much of that, especially in the first act, for my personal taste. But yeah, I'd probably give it an 8. It's not the masterpiece. I saw like a YouTube thumbnail for a video that said masterpiece in huge letters. I wouldn't say that, but it's good. I liked it. Much better than Star Trek Picard. I would rather talk about that movie than Star Trek Picard, but I'm not here to talk about that movie. I am here to talk about Star Trek Picard. God damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it through this season. I will say, though, that this week's episode was slightly better than the last two, more so for the ending, and it gives me hope that maybe the next two episodes, the final two of the season, could be mediocre. Dare I dream? I think my pipe dream would be for one of those episodes to make it a 6 out of 10. I don't really have any expectations for anything higher than that, and that's probably unrealistic. But I do have a little bit more hope, as I will talk about in this review. But all of the things that I've been complaining about for the past few weeks are still there, still present. I'm still noticing a very clunky way of storytelling. There is no good story flow. There's still like, we're going to take this plot point and we're going to slam it down on the table over here. Then we're going to take this other unrelated plot point and we're going to slam it down over here. And there's no connection and no flow. So, you know, we had, we've got to go to the party and we've got to, convince Rene Picard to go do this mission. Clunk over here. Oh, now all of a sudden Picard got hit by a car and Talon's gonna go in his mind and save him. Clunk over here. Oh, but now we want to go summon Q and Picard's now gonna go to find Guinan. Clunk over here. Oh, but now they're arrested and now there's this thing with this stupid FBI agent that, boy, I did not like that storyline. I'll get into that. But that's over here. Clunk. I will say I'm talking mostly about Picard's story this season, Jean-Luc Picard's. I think there's a little more story flow in the Jurati and Borg Queen storyline this season, although not quite as interesting as I would like it to be. So there's that. But within the Picard storyline, it's just really bad storytelling. And this week we finally get a couple of answers we should have gotten a long time ago, or in one case a partial answer. We still need more information, but there are things that we should have learned 5 weeks ago. They should never have been mysteries in the first place, and I'll talk specifically about what those are as I get into the details. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and dive into some of the details of this episode. Okay, why don't we go ahead and start with the dramatic conclusion to that riveting cliffhanger from last week. And of course, I'm being sarcastic. My response to that cliffhanger last week is, are you kidding me? We already did the main characters getting arrested thing. And this ended up being even worse than I could have possibly imagined. This is definitely the low point of the episode and possibly of an already bad season. This is up there amongst one of the worst storylines of an already bad season, when we have this really stupid Fox Mulder X-Files knockoff, Fox Mulder wannabe, who is this pathetic FBI agent who is convinced that Picard and Guinan are aliens, and to be fair, he's half right, but it's all based off of some Vulcan doing a mind meld on him when he was a little kid, and then the Vulcan, for no reason whatsoever, beaming away in the middle of the mind meld. Did somebody on his ship beam him out? And he should have been, it is illogical to beam me out while I'm trying to erase this kid's memory, beam him back down so I can mind meld him. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, why was he beamed out in the middle of the mind meld? That was weird. But anyway, that whole thing was so dumb. I feel just a little bit dumber after having watched that storyline. That's a line that I stole from Billy Madison, like this Adam Sandler movie, which in and of itself is a dumb movie, but I did take it from it. There's a line at the end of the movie where Adam Sandler is up on stage and like he gives this big speech, and the guy who's moderating the speech, whatever the hell it was, I forget now, was like, "Oh, very good. I think every single one of us in this room is a little bit dumber for having heard that." So I use that line sometimes in my reviews. I've used that before. But anyway, that's how I feel about this storyline. Is so stupid. And we just really did not need it. The only things that we needed really was for Q to have the interaction with Guinan. I guess we needed some resolution to Guinan, being a bitch earlier in the season and wanting to walk away from humanity. But I don't know, that whole thing was dumb in the first place. like I didn't buy that she would behave that way to begin with. But I guess we needed that. I don't know. I wouldn't have cared if we didn't get it. Let me talk about Q coming in to see Guinan, and here we get sort of the partial answer where Q says he's dying. How is he dying? He's a Q. Unclear. He's just dying. Okay. That's something. But why the fuck is he trying to change the timeline? Just because he's dying? He wants to make the Earth into a confederation before he goes away. He wants to teach Picard some last lesson before he goes away. I don't understand. And she asks him, "Oh, why would you take Picard back in time just because you're dying?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't take him back in time. There's many ways to travel in time." Okay, technically that's true, but why are you trying to change the timeline? There's no answer. Should not be a mystery. Should be something that we should just know. Should be a part of the plot. It would make it way more interesting to know what the hell Q's motivation is. You have to know what the villain's motivation is. Otherwise, I do not care. Okay. And then Guinan does this thing where she communicates with Picard telepathically, and her nose is bleeding, and she's like, Picard, all humans are stuck in the past. Woo! Like a ghost. Is that something we've seen Guinan do before? Please let me know in the comments if that is. Maybe I don't remember it. But it seems to me that once again we have a character who has a plot convenient ability just so the story could happen and no other reason. That's what it seems like to me. But please tell me if I forgot the time that Guinan did a telepathic ghost communication with Picard before, or with anyone, because I don't remember that. This is just so bad. All right, let's move on. All right, let's talk about Rios for a second, because I cannot believe I forgot to mention at the end of last week's episode, during my last week's review, I forgot to mention that he beams aboard the doctor and her son onto La Sorrenta for no reason other than he enjoys destroying the timeline, I guess. I don't know why he would do that. And I can't believe I forgot to mention it. It's because I saved the Rio storyline for the end of last week's review, and I was so tired of talking about that bad episode, so I just quit. But then I realized after my brother did his review that I was like, oh crap, I forgot to mention that, how atrocious that is. And hopefully that they don't take them back to the 25th century with them like the Kirk did in Star Trek 4. I go, oh well, I guess we're stuck with you now. We couldn't possibly beam you off or anything like that. So I guess that would be atrocious as well. And I do want to make this clear, because it's something my brother mentioned in his review. He was referencing my Star Trek 4 review and how I was saying in my Star Trek 4 review just how careless Kirk and crew were about the timeline. And my brother was saying, well, in Picard, they're way worse. And I 1000% agree. They are way, way worse here. With Star Trek 4 is just kind of having some fun and nitpicking, but overall I still love that film. But they are way more careless here. They don't give a fuck about anything having to do with the timeline except for that one specific thing that they have to change in order to keep the Confederation from forming. But everything else, who cares? And that's why I got mad a couple weeks ago when 7 and 9 was like, oh, we couldn't possibly beam Rios out because that might affect the timeline, even though they had just beamed in themselves 5 minutes earlier. And all throughout the season, they just don't give a flying crap about the timeline. So it kind of irritated me where 7 and 9 suddenly cares about the timeline for that one thing. They inconsistently care about the timeline, but for the most part, they do not give a fuck about the timeline except for the one thing they were sent there to fix. And then in this episode, we have, I'll get back to Rios a little bit in a second, but we also have Raffi and 7 finding this dude that Jurati Borg Queen killed. And obviously, there is nothing they could do to prevent that. That happened, and it's too late now. But I would have liked to seen some dialogue about, hey, this could really fuck up the timeline because what if this dude ends up having kids after this and that deletes an entire bloodline from history? Hopefully none of those people do anything good or important or necessary to not drastically change the timeline. But they don't even mention that because they don't care about the timeline. That's why they don't mention it. But back to the Rios thing. Yeah, I mean, as I said last week, I would be more interested in this love story if it was surrounded by context that was well written, engaging, interesting, and it is not. So what it comes across to me as is trite and redundant and something I've seen a gazillion times. And also now it's in the territory of not making much sense because why in the hell did he bring her onto that ship? And the son, why did he bring the boy onto the ship? What is going on? Like, it just makes no sense. All right, let's move on to Jurati and 7 now. So I talked last week about, Raffi and 7, and then I'll get into Jurati. So with Raffi and 7, I talked last week about how their relationship was mostly off screen, and yes, they did have the audio drama or whatever, but I didn't hear that. So you have to go out of your way to find something to get character development. And if you don't, then you have no reason to care about that relationship. This week, we have some more with the Raffi and Elnor dynamic and the relationship and how much that really has hurt Raffi. And maybe some people think, oh, what a heartwarming little exchange between 7 and Raffi. Except that I do not give a fuck about this Raffi and Elnor relationship because I have never seen it. That is completely 100% off screen. There's not even an audio drama for that. That is very much something that we are being told and not shown. This is the textbook definition of telling without showing. Like, I don't know anything to connect me to this Raffi and Elnor relationship. It did not exist in season one. It is something that took place entirely off screen between seasons 1 and 2, and I have no connection to it. So I do not find that Seven and Raffi scene to be in any way heartwarming or any way anything that makes me feel anything, because I'm being told that Raffi has this connection with Elnor. We do get that one scene, there was a little flashback scene between the two of them, but that's not enough. That is not enough. That does not, in that one little brief scene, give me a full idea of this relationship between those two characters that I'm only being told about, because it did not exist in season one. I don't even know if they even interacted hardly in season one. So there's that. Then there's the Jurati and the Borg Queen thing. And here's why I think that maybe the last 2 episodes could be decent, because now we're building into what the Borg Queen is doing. And I think we may lead up into finding out that the Borg Queen at the beginning of the season was Jurati, who is now a good Borg Queen. So that could be semi-interesting. And at least now, like, we know what the Borg Queen is doing, and not just running around in a red dress and, sucking on car batteries. It's like, now she has a plan. So that makes it a little more interesting. So that's the only thing that gives me hope that maybe the last 2 episodes won't completely suck. But I'm probably, a girl can dream, but we do also get another answer that I think we should have gotten 5 weeks ago. It should never have been a mystery. They make clear, finally, what the connection is between Rene Picard and Dr. Soong, where the Borg Queen explains that Rene Picard ends up finding, I think she said it's something to do with climate change. Like, she finds something on Europa that is able to help with climate change, I think is what she said. But lacking that, if that doesn't happen, then Dr. Soong, through his genetic research, somehow finds a cure for climate change or something. So because Rene Picard doesn't find the solution, the world has to rely on Dr. Soong, and then he becomes this hero, and then that leads them down the path to the Confederation. Now, never mind the fact that that's a little bit hard to believe. I mean, it's hard to follow that logic. Putting that aside, why was this not made clear from the beginning? The only thing we got about Rene Picard before was that Picard speculated that she must have found something on her Europa mission, and her not finding that, whatever that thing she might have found, is what changed the timeline. First of all, he was speculating, he was guessing. We did not have it confirmed that he was correct. Also, he was very vague. We got nothing about how she found something that otherwise, if she doesn't find it, that's going to cause Dr. Soong to have to step up and save the world and become the big hero and lead us into the Confederation. We got nothing about that till now. We should have gotten that 5 episodes ago. It should not be a mystery. It's not like it was a good, compelling mystery. Ooh, I wonder what this is. No, it was just terrible writing. Terrible, sloppy writing. I think I said I was going to try to not yell as much. So, okay, calm down. Deep breath. Okay. Anyways, actually, I think that's all I really need to say about this week's episode. So let me go ahead and wrap things up with my rating out of 10. Okay, so my rating out of 10 for Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 8 is a 4. So slightly higher than last week, which was slightly higher than the week before. So I think we're back up to, I think I gave Episode 5 a 4 as well. So we're back up to Episode 5 levels. Which is still not great. It's a 4. So yeah, my pipe dream for the rest of the season would be one of the episodes gets a 5 or a 6 maybe. But otherwise, the season is lost. I think this is headed for one of the worst seasons in Star Trek history, up there with seasons like Next Generation Season 1, Enterprise Season 1. I would argue, personally, Voyager Season 6 and 7, although I know that a lot of people don't agree with me on that. And Original Series Season 3. that gets understated, like how bad that season was. There are a lot of really terrible episodes in that season. So I don't think this season is as bad as that, but I think it's in that conversation as one of the worst seasons in Star Trek. And I don't think there's anything it can do to save itself from that. But this week is a 4. We'll see what next week brings. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Please join me next week as I slug it out again and I get through it. Another episode of Picard. And then also next week, I will be doing a live discussion preview for Strange New Worlds. And I will be talking with my brother Mark from Enchantment of Eternity next Saturday, April 30th. And I'll give you more information on that a little bit later on, earlier in the week, next week. And also I'm dropping my Nostalgia Lane video tomorrow, Friday, April 22nd. You will find my new Nostalgia Lane video for Almost Famous. And the question is Almost Famous one of my favorite movies of all time? Watch and find out. All right, everyone. Have a good day. I will see you later. Goodbye.